Hi again. So I'm going to read chapters 13 and 14 if you hear any weird noises, honey. And my husband turned on the lights, so it's brighter now. Anyway, I hope you guys had a nice long weekend. So here's chapter 13 and 14. They walked together through the scrub. The rain had stopped, but the whole world was wet. The pines and the pimentos and the sad cluster of dead orange trees all dripped water. This is where my mother grew up, Sistine said, swinging her arms wide as she walked. Right here in Lister. And she said that she always told herself that if she ever made it out here, she wasn't going to come back. But now she's back because my father had an affair with his secretary, whose name is Bridget, and who can't type, which is really a bad thing for a secretary not to be able to do. And my mother left him when she found out. He's coming down here to get me soon. Next week, probably. I'm going to live with him. I'm not staying here, that's for sure. Rob felt a familiar loneliness rise up and drape its arms over his shoulders. She wasn't staying? There was no point in wishing the suitcase needed to stay There was no point, in wishing the suitcase needed to stay closed. He stared at Sistine's shiny shoes and willed his sadness to go away. Ain't you worried about messing up your shoes? He asked her. No, she said. I hate these shoes. I hate every piece of clothing that my mother makes me wear. Does your mother live with you? Rob shook his head. Nah, he said. Where is she? Rob shrugged his shoulder. My mother's going to open up a store downtown. It's going to be an art store. She's going to bring some culture to this area. She could sell some of your wood sculptures. They ain't sculptures, he protested. They're just whittlings. That's all. And you got to be quiet because Beauchamp don't want people walking around in his land. Is this his land? Sistine asked. Everything's his, said Rob. The motel and these woods. He can't own everything, Sistine argued. Besides, she said, I don't care. He can catch us. He can put us in jail for trespassing. I don't care. If we're in jail, we won't get to see the tiger, said Rob. Where's your mother? Sistine demanded suddenly. She stopped walking and stared at him. Shh, said Rob. You got to be quiet. He kept walking. I do not have to be quiet, Sistine called after him. I want to know where your mother is. He turned around and looked at her. Her hands were on her hips. Her black eyes were narrowed. I don't want to see your stupid tiger, she shouted. I don't care about it. You don't know how to talk to people. I told you about my father and my mother and Bridget, and you didn't say anything. You won't even tell me about your mother. Keep your hands on your hips. Keeping her hands on her hips, she turned and started marching back in the direction of the Kentucky Star. Keep your stupid secrets, she shouted. Keep your stupid tiger, too. I don't care. Rob watched her. Because she was wearing his jeans and his shirt, it was like looking into a funhouse mirror. It was like watching himself walk away. He shrugged and bent to scratch his legs. He told himself that he didn't care. He told himself that she was leaving soon anyway. But when he looked up and saw her getting smaller and smaller, it reminded him of his dream. He remembered Sistine riding into the woods on the back of the tiger, and suddenly he couldn't bear the thought of watching her disappear again. Wait up, he shouted, wait up! And he started to run towards her. Sistine turned and stopped. She waited for him with her hands on her hips. Well, she said, when he got closer. She's dead, he told her. The words came out in short, ragged gasps. My mama's dead. Okay, Sistine. She gave a quick professional nod to her head. She stepped toward him, and Rob turned, and together they walked back in the direction toward the tiger. The cage was made, chapter 14. The cage was made out of rusted chain link fence. There was board that served as a roof, and there was a chain link door that was locked tight with 3 padlocks inside the cage. The tiger was still pacing back and forth, just as it had been the last time Rob saw him, as if he had never stopped pacing or if Rob had never gone away. Oh, said Sistine in the same voice that she had used when she saw Rob's carving. He's beautiful. Don't get too close, Rob ordered. He might not like it if we stand too close. But the tiger ignored them. He concentrated on pacing. He was so enormous and so bright that it was hard to look directly at him. It's just like a poem, says Sistine breathed. What? What? Said Rob. That poem, the one that goes tiger, tiger, burning bright in the forest of the night. That poem, it's just like that. He burns bright. Oh, said Rob, and he nodded, and he liked the fierce and beautiful way that the words sounded. Just as he was getting ready to ask Sistine to say them again, she swirled around and faced him. What's he doing way out here? She demanded. Rob shrugged. I don't know, he said. He's Beauchamp's, I guess. Beauchamp what? Beauchamp's what? Said Sistine. His pet? I don't know, said Rob. I just like looking at him. Maybe Beauchamp does too. Maybe he just likes to come out here and look at him. That's selfish, said Sistine. Rob shrugged. This isn't right for a tiger to be in a cage. It's not right. We can't do nothing about it, Rob said. We could let him go, said Sistine. We could set him free. She put her hands on her hips, and the gesture that Rob had already come to recognize to be weary of. We can't, he said. There's all these locks. We can saw through them. Nah, said Rob. The mere thought of letting the tiger go made his legs itch like crazy. We have to set it free, Sistine said, in her voice loud and certain. Nuh-uh, said Rob. It ain't our tiger to let go. It's our tiger to save, Sistine said fiercely. The tiger stopped pacing. He pricked his ears back and forth, looking somewhere past Sistine and Rob. Shh, said Rob. The tiger cocked his head. All 3 of them listened. It's a car, said Rob. A car's coming. It's Beauchamp's. We gotta go. Come on. He grabbed her hand and pulled her into the woods. She ran with him. She let him hold on her hand. It was an impossibly small and bony hand, as delicate as the skeleton of a baby bird. You guys, be quiet. Let's see. They ran together, and Rob felt his heart move inside him, not from fear or exertion, but from something else. It was as if his soul had grown and was pushing everything up higher in his body. It was an oddly familiar feeling, but he couldn't remember what it was called. Is he behind us? Sistine asked breathlessly. Rob shrugged. It was hard to move his shoulders up and down and keep hold of Sistine's hand at the same time. Sistine said, Stop shrugging your shoulders at me. I hate it. I hate the way you shrug all the time. And that made Rob remember Willie Mae saying that when he shrugged, he looked like a skinny bird trying to fly. It struck him as funny now, and he laughed out loud at the thought of it. And without asking him what he was laughing about, without dropping his hand, without stopping, Sistine laughed too. Then Rob remembered the name of the feeling that was pushing up inside him, filling him full to overflowing. It was happiness. That's what it was called. Okay, I hope the dogs didn't bother you. They're playing in my bedroom, so just so you know. Anyway, you guys, I'll see you Friday, and we'll read chapter 15. Bye.